Hi, Prana Boosters. I'm Tina Louise Balodi, author of this book, Misalignment, The Emotion Fairy. And I kind of wanted to share an experience with you all today of something very emotional that me and my family went through just a couple weeks ago. So many of you are probably familiar with the wildfires in California. And now we've been living here since 1998. I moved here from Chicago, Illinois, after my husband and I graduated college, and we drove out here. And it's always been something that has kind of, affected us living here. But the one thing that we've never experienced, that we just feel so blessed that we've never actually had to go through, was an evacuation. And 2 weeks ago on Monday, we had one of our best friends and neighbors call in the morning, and literally, I barely remember what he said. I just remember hearing something like, "We're being evacuated, get everybody out of the house now, like get out now." And I said, "What? Who? Us? What are you talking about?" And he said, "There's a fire, get out now." And I just remember thinking, what? Like, it's 2020, this year has been insane, and I've had so much anxiety along, just like many of us. This was like the last thing that I thought could happen. I don't know why, since I live here and I know like how much it happens, but it's just not something I thought would happen, in my neighborhood, or like, for us, where we actually live. It just really wasn't something that I was afraid of. And I didn't really have a plan in place. I didn't have an evacuation plan of what I would grab and what I would do. So I literally, started to panic. And one of the things that was the worst part is that I was in huge resistance. Like, I was judging the situation. I was so upset that I had to wake my kids up to this news, that I had to, like, I just couldn't imagine like how traumatic it's going to be for everybody. And I kept thinking like, okay, I could handle this, but I was so worried about our girls and what it would be like for them. But we woke them up, and I actually woke up my youngest daughter and told her, and she got up right away. And I actually went in my closet to go put clothes on. It was the first thing I thought of. Now, I didn't grab any clothes. I didn't grab toothbrushes. I didn't grab anything, but I kind of told her, like, go wake your sister, go tell her. And to be honest with you, after the fact, I had, I know I can't, because in the moment I wasn't thinking clearly, but I kind of had regret. I just felt so bad that I didn't go wake up my other daughter and, and tell her what was going on. And anyway, we'll save that for later, but I felt so bad. But in general, I think we handled ourselves, pretty well, how we responded, how we grabbed things, and we grabbed our electronics and our laptops, and my husband had to grab his entire like iMac computer and all his backup drives, and we had to grab important papers, and we had to get our dog packed up, and I had to remember to get dog food, and I had to bring snacks and water. And the thing is that I didn't know anything at this point. So I didn't know how long we had. I didn't know where the fire was. I didn't even know which direction to drive. Like, that would be going like away from the fires. Like, I just literally had no clue what was going on. It was very, very windy, like super scary windy. It was orange. It smelled like smoke. It was so intense. Like, I can't even describe to you. And we were packing up the car, and, you kind of walk around your house and you look around and you're like, what am I supposed to take? Like, what could I not live without? What do I need? And it's so interesting to be in that scenario. And I think to myself, with my spiritual practice and all the things I teach and all the coaching that I do to help people through, situations, you really are tested to put all your knowledge, in action when something happens like that. And so I knew we just had to get out, and we had to make sure that everyone was safe, and I couldn't worry about anything else in the house. And so we ended up leaving, and I wasn't really sure where to go, actually. And I knew a lot of people were I was following like the cars, like where they were going. And then all of a sudden, our friend called us and told us, come back, come help me. And I thought, oh my God, we literally we were already out of the neighborhood. We went back in to our neighborhood to go help our friends. And we ended up going to my mom's house, because my mom actually has a place nearby, like 20 minutes away. And we actually drove, I think it would be like east, maybe, I don't know actually the direction, but I think we were going away from the fires, but we still were unsure, because we weren't exactly sure where it was coming from and what was going on. But it was just so intense and so nerve-wracking in my head. My ego kept saying like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why are we going through this? Oh my God, what's the lesson? What are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to think? And sometimes when I do this work and I, work on, saging and crystals and healing and Reiki and all the stuff that I do and the chakra balancing, sometimes I have thought originally we're doing all that to prevent things from happening. And what I realized was that it's not really realistic, nor it's not really the point of life is to prevent things from happening, but we use those spiritual practices, we use those, those tools to align our nervous systems and our energy to manage life and the experiences that we go through. And having that spiritual practice will actually, I think, shift the way that you experience it, like what happens to you. So now we would call this, many people would call this a very traumatic event. And it was so traumatic. It was crazy. I mean, for 2 days, we didn't know if our house was going to be standing. And you know what's weird? I was laying in bed and I was thinking to myself that night after we had evacuated, like, oh my God, I should have taken that. I should have taken that. Like, how did I not grab that? Like, so many things feel so important. And I thought to myself, what was I thinking? Like, I should have shoved that in the car. Your mind goes crazy, like plays tricks on you. And you don't even know what to think in that scenario. And I felt so bad for other people. And I thought about people who had no place to go and people that were scared and had to go to hotels, especially now with like COVID and, people that had to go to like a community center. They didn't have anywhere to go, or they didn't have anyone's house to be at. And I know when we got there, it was kind of like triage. It was like just taking care of everyone, making sure that we went to the store and got some food, making sure that everyone was okay. And, both of our girls kind of reacted differently, one was calmer, one was more upset, and I was just thinking about the fact that then it was my job to help everybody kind of like manage their emotions and manage the trauma and the fear that gets inside of you when you're woken up to that kind of news and you have to rush and run out of your house and basically literally like run for your lives. It's indescribable, and I feel like living here all these years, we kind of watched it from the outside. I know that I have family members who have been evacuated, and you really literally try to imagine like what that would feel like, but you kind of don't know unless you go through it. You just literally don't know. So really, there's just no instruction book for how to handle it and how to handle the trauma, and your body is just tense. You're kind of like white knuckling through it. And it's funny because we have like a Ring doorbell, and we also have a camera inside the house. And I never, like, for the first like 24 hours, we didn't know if our house was standing. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know if it was still windy. We didn't know if the flames were like closer nearby. And I thought then the next day, like literally like 24 hours later, I had this thought during the middle of the night. I was like, oh my God. I was like, why don't I look at the cameras? Why don't I see what's going on? And it's really weird because it brought me so much peace of mind, because I was able to see like the front of our house, and I was able to see that the winds had died down. And, to me, this was a miracle, because I was over there, where we were staying, and I was just saying, angels, my God, please help us, please stop the winds, and, help protect everyone's homes. And really, because the wind is so dangerous, the wind is what makes it spread, and it can turn on a dime. Like, it can just change direction, or get more intense, or it can actually stop spreading if there's obviously no wind. And it was just literally like a miracle. I mean, I think there were like 91,000 of us in our community in Orange County that were evacuated, and they were able to save every single home. So, I mean, it was just like the biggest, hugest blessing. And I just kept thinking to myself, maybe there's something to this. I mean, maybe maybe we went through it, but maybe we had a different experience, because of our thoughts and our vibration and the reality that we've created. So it wasn't, possible for us to prevent the evacuation, but we experienced the wildfires in, a much different way than much of the state of what everybody has been going through. So, we had a lot of gratitude, and we were so happy, and we actually ended up, just checking our phones, and our city was so amazing at alerting us and giving us information and telling us what was going on and letting people know when they could come back. And when you came back, you were all nervous because it was smoky and the air quality was bad. But you were just grateful to see your house standing, and you were, kind of like just in this mode, like, wanting to kiss the floor, like, oh my God, I just can't believe it. I can't believe we're like coming back to our house and everything is okay. And in fact, when we were allowed to come back, it was already nighttime, like even maybe close to, I actually don't remember what time it was, but maybe it was like 10 or 11 at night. And everyone was kind of anxious to come back, and also to come back at night and try to like move back into the house. And it was very smoky. So we decided to stay another night out and come back the next day during the day. But we actually took a ride at like 11:30, 12 o'clock midnight to our house to go check things out and just walk through the house and just kind of like be in the energy of knowing that our home was okay. And so, what I was thinking about is that we were just in such gratitude. We were just so happy. We were so relieved. We were so grateful that I was afraid to allow maybe some of the emotions. I know, right? The emotion fairy. I just felt like I should be so relieved, actually, that everything was okay, that I should feel okay that everything happened. But the truth is that your body doesn't know the difference. Your body knows that you were running from a tiger, that you were running from a fire, like the adrenaline and the cortisol and the stress hormones that are like raging through your body. It takes time to catch up, like to get our nervous systems back in order. And I swear, I think it took one of my daughters like 2 weeks to come back into herself. And, sometimes we felt bad for feeling bad because, trauma is not necessarily the situation that you went through or what you experienced. It's actually how your body manages the experience and what you went through. So I feel like many people thought that it wasn't as traumatic because our homes were okay and because everything was saved, but it was so traumatic to go through. It was so frightening and so scary. And I know I'm probably leaving a lot of details out. I'm trying to even like remember, we didn't even grab, toothbrushes or, like underwear or pajamas or clothes or anything like that. We didn't even know what to do. So that was, interesting not to have, not to have those types of necessities and things with us, for a couple days actually. And many people will say, well, you should be prepared. You live in California. You should have like a bag ready to go. And, maybe that's true. I mean, maybe we should have been more prepared. I just, again, didn't ever really expect to go through that experience. And anyway, so what else did I want to share with you about that? So I wanted to say that, I talked to a lot of different people during this experience. And so for me, because I am the emotion fairy, because I understand emotions and feelings so deeply, my intention was to take care of everyone, mind, body, and spirit, like make sure everybody was fed, like we're vegan. So, I had to go and make sure that we had food to eat. And obviously we didn't bring that with us. And to make it through these couple days away from home. But beyond that, I had to make sure that everybody's hearts and, and minds were taken care of. And so I talked to a lot of people from our neighborhood, our friends that were actually evacuated, and they were saying they were like having their kids do their homework and, nothing was going to change. And I thought to myself, that's kind of a trauma response too, is to try to control the situation and have some sense of order. And, maybe that, no judgment at all, maybe that actually like felt more comfortable to them. Maybe they needed to take their mind off of things and, like shift their focus. I didn't know if the parents were like requiring that or the kids did want to get behind. Like, I don't really know what's behind it, but I wanted to really just, yell from the rooftops, like take care of each other and understand that, this is a big trauma and this is an extraordinary situation where, you kind of have to take care of your soul, your spirit and, manage your energy and manage your emotions that are running through from something like that. And I think a lot of people, just wrote it off. They were like, oh, well, we're back in our homes and we're just so grateful and, nothing really happened. But I think that there's more to it. There's more to kind of like taking care of ourselves. And, you come back to your home the next day and it's like sunny and it's not windy and you're kind of like in shock because you're like, wait a minute, were we just like told to like run for our lives? Were we just told to like, grab a few things and not, not sure if we would ever come back to it? Were, did this really even happen? Like, you're just kind of like you go into like a state of shock and you just don't really understand, what's going on. And then you're supposed to go back to like regular life. So I know like literally like, I think the day after we all came home and we were, the evacuation orders were lifted, the kids went back to school, and it's like business as usual. Everybody's back at work, everybody's back at school. But I know that I just wanted to remind everyone that it's so important when we go through these life experiences that we take the time to, talk about it or check in with our family and our kids and, acknowledge things that we have been through. And, that is, in my opinion, more important than like doing your homework or taking a test or, what's going to happen in school, because these life experiences, shape you. And, it's super important to pay attention to all of it. So I just felt like I kind of wanted to share that, our experience, and of course send out our gratitude to, everybody that helps save our community. And the people in our community were, I would say like, awesome, like kind and considerate about, evacuating, and, there was traffic and people getting out of the neighborhood and things like that. And it really just kind of like shifts you, I mean, these experiences, they shape you. You're just different afterwards, I think, to be honest with you, we were so grateful before. I mean, we love our home, we love our neighborhood, we have a gratitude jar that we like write in, that we say things. And so I felt like, well, we didn't really need that lesson, like, why did this have to happen? And it's just, one of those things. But, having a spiritual practice like we do, which involves like meditation or calming music or, crystals help me through things, ways to shift our vibration and come back into ourselves and balance our chakras. I also do Reiki. So doing some Reiki healing to kind of like, realign our energy after something like that is really important. And taking care of yourself, like we were tired. We were so tired. We were so drained. We needed extra water. We needed to just like really acknowledge the fact that that was big, like that was, big to experience. And it just makes me think of the people who had a much different outcome. I know that there were other fires during that time, and we did hear about some people who lost their homes, and our hearts just went out to them. We just felt like, I just can't imagine, what they were experiencing or what they were going through. But, you really just learn to also become so much more compassionate, because, maybe you're not getting evacuated, but maybe there's other things that happen in people's lives. Maybe somebody loses their job or loses a loved one, or somebody gets sick. And again, it's just another reminder to have compassion for ourselves and other people, because we're all experiencing so much. And, this year with the heightened emotions and, the stress and anxiety that we've all been going through, to be honest with you, I just didn't think there'd be like this on top of everything else that we would experience. But I really just kind of wanted to like share this little story with you guys, and this, experience of what we went through. And, it was interesting, but, I know some people couldn't even take their pets with them. That was actually really scary. I felt really blessed that we were able to take our dog Angel with us. And, what's interesting is that her energy was off. She was nervous. She couldn't relax. She was, pacing around and walking around. You could tell she wouldn't get comfortable. It's funny, when we got home, my kids were both saying, oh, Angel's so happy to be home. She does this thing where she like lays on her back, or she lays up against the wall, or she just, you could tell she's like really comfortable and feels safe and feels relaxed. And, she needed, love and attention and energy work too, because it was very traumatic for her. So it's like traumatic for our pets and, all of us involved. So again, I just kind of wanted to share that with you all. And, one of the things that I was talking to our youngest daughter about, is that we, afterwards, we were able to reflect and look back and just say like how grateful we were for how it was handled, how we experienced it. And, I think that, I think that when you are aware of your vibration, and I think when you live in kind of a state of gratitude and appreciation, I think that sometimes you will experience things in life, but you will experience them on a different level. You know, like I said, we were super blessed to have a place to be, a nice, safe place, um, you know, to be warm and to, you know, wait this out. And not everybody was that, you know, that lucky. So we really did feel like that, you know, um, our energy plays a role sort of in how we experience life. And I also believe that it helped us respond in a proper way. You know, I mean, I was feeling panicked, but I wasn't reactive. You know, my husband and I didn't fight. We didn't argue. We didn't yell. We didn't scream. You know, we didn't add to it, the stress. We were rushing around. We were hurrying. We were, you know, like talking to each other, and we were trying to be there for everyone. But still, I think, you know, having some kind of spiritual practice, some kind of awareness of yourself and your energy will even make something like that, something traumatic and an experience like that more, you know, more doable, more, you know, more pleasant, if that's even a good word for that. Sounds like an oxymoron, right? Like having pleasant energy during a evacuation. But anyway, again, I just wanted to say my heart goes out to people who experienced a different reality than we did, and I now understand what it feels like to be evacuated, and I have compassion for, you know, everyone that has experienced that, or what that's felt like, or what they've gone through. And I just want you guys to remember to take care of your emotions and your feelings, and they matter. And talk to your kids and talk to your family and let them tell you how they feel. And we don't need to compare our tragedies and our suffering with other people, because whatever we experience, that's our experience, and we don't have to compare or, you know, we don't have to feel bad having emotions and feelings, even if the worst thing didn't happen, because just getting evacuated was yucky, right? So we don't have to say, oh, well, at least you're fine, at least your house is fine, so you should feel great. No, you still might have feelings and emotions. You still might have, you know, some form of, you know, PTSD, you know, from, you know, being startled and just what you went through. And so you really have to take time to nurture yourself and, you know, recover after something like that. So anyway, sending out lots of love. So I just wanted to say, if this video resonates with you and you enjoyed it, please, you know, support my channel by clicking the subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber, I appreciate you more than you know. And it takes a lot, you know, like everybody keeps saying, turn on the camera, just talk, let it flow. And, you know, for me, it takes a lot to share and try to feel like I'm gonna say the right thing. But I'm realizing, I'm hearing from so many of you that it just helps to hear kind of what other people go through, how they handle life, what their experiences are. So I'm trying to, you know, be vulnerable and show up and share with you, you know, what we're going through too. So thinking of everyone, sending lots of love, and see you next time. Bye.